Everyone, here we are. It's live again. It's Thursday night, so it's New Year's Eve, and we're here again. Thank you for tuning in. It's what is it? December 31st, of course. That's a New Year's Eve, makes sense, right? But we're here again. Thanks for tuning in, and I really appreciate you being here. We're starting a little bit later than normal. It's now 10 o'clock. We normally start at 8, and normally about this time we're either finished or winding down, but now we're just going to start taking off and heading out into it. So how's the week been? How's everything going out there? What are you guys doing? What is everybody doing? You know, I didn't have anything else to do, so otherwise I'd be sitting at home. So I thought I'd come sit here with you guys and have drinks and have cigars and, you know, do what we do every Thursday, do what we do in our world. So yeah. Did you guys have work today? I worked today. I ran the shop, so we opened up, had a bunch of guests come in, made coffee. But I was really tired, man. I was really, really tired. Like, there's some, I don't know how you guys have been this whole COVID time, but like, man, I don't really get much sleep at all. Like, usually I'll wake up at some point in the night, gotta go to the bathroom. You know, you get up to a certain age and you start going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Like, sleeping through the night is not happening anymore. And then after that, sometimes I just can't go back to bed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I still can't go back. It's like, oh man. And I didn't go to bed till like 1 o'clock, so it's even worse, you know. But hey, Rusty, Tony, good to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year to you guys. But what we're going to be doing today, we're going to do like our normal deal is, since it's coffee and cigars, we got to do a little coffee. Probably won't drink too much of that because we got some libations going on today. But we're going to start off and do some Fahem. This is the Fahem 74110-74148 from my buddy Tim Wendelbo in Oslo, Norway. And yeah, I don't know if you guys, I might have talked about Tim at one point because we talked about his cup maybe a couple weeks ago. And Tim's this guy who was a Bereche Champagne many years ago. But he's been a good friend for many years, and we usually get together at different events, or at least one event throughout the year. And a lot of times we'll have a cigar together. So I thought, oh, you know what? We're going off book today. We're not going to be doing the normal programming, so let's try his coffee. And the Fahem is from Ethiopia, and the 74110 as well as the 74148 are actually varietal numbers of different Arabica coffees. And this one, he says, is produced by Mohammed Lalo in Adnago Limaseka, Ethiopia. And it's a wash process, and so we're going to give it a try. Oh, I'm not going to open it because I've already ground it. Right? So we're going to brew it up in our Clever Brewer. And the Clever Brewer, I might have used this, and I think I've used this. I've used this several times, right? And basically, it's a hybrid brewer that you put the coffee in, you put the water, you let it steep, and it steeps for 3 minutes. Like a French press, you get the full immersion and get all the solubles, as much solubles as you can out of it. And then you put it on top of a cup. The valve opens here at the bottom, and the liquid flows through the paper filter. So you get the cleanliness of a pour-over without the sediment and essential oils that are inherent in a French press. But you get the brew development of a French press. So we're going to do that. We're using 24 grams again for a 12-ounce cup, or 12-ounce brew. So coffee goes in. And we're just going to get our props. These RoMa Craft revenge boxes with their height really have become handy. So I'm actually using like building blocks for different things. So we've got our brew here. So Rusty, looks like you went to school to drop off groceries from what? Oh, nice. How many Oh, I guess you've been off for like the last week or so, right? Because I was going to ask how many students did you have this week, but I guess school is out. Because I remember that one day you said you had one student that came in for live session training. All right, so we're going to start adding the water. So I'm going to add, oh, maybe. Oh, man, this just got really lemony. Oh, that's some nice aroma. So we're adding some water, just a little bit to let the bloom happen, right? Look at that. And now that we've waited about 30 seconds, we're going to add the rest to fill it up. Really, we're adding about 350 so milliliters of water. Oh, that worked out pretty well. Good. All right. Then we're going to put the cap on to hold in the heat. So the last day for school was 12/23. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. But you're already starting on Monday so soon. I always thought that it felt like in high school, it felt so soon to go back to class. Like school is done and then you're like, I mean, Christmas and then New Year's and then you're back to school. I much preferred the college, schedule, like Christmas, New Year, 2-3 weeks, and then back to school. I didn't really like going to school too much, so I was always happy to not be in school. All right, so we're going to let this run the timer. So you're going to be back in school on Monday? For how long? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Here in Maryland, I don't think. Yeah, in Baltimore City, they're not running in-person classes. Like I just talked to one of my customers is a administrator at one of the charter schools, and he was just telling me, yeah, if they do get called back, he'll go in first. And I guess his charter school is small enough so that he can teach, whoever decides to come in. But he was saying that for his student, in Baltimore City, of course, there's a lot of problems in Baltimore City, and so a lot of the students normally fall through the cracks. But now that the COVID's happening and people are home, it's even more so. So it's really, I think most of them are virtual in Baltimore City. Baltimore County, I think so as well. I know that my niece's school, well, actually, my nieces, no, I think maybe they're in session. My niece goes to private school, but they are choosing to be home and do virtual schooling. They were doing a, what do you call it? They were doing the student body was doing in-person classes, but someone got COVID, so they sent everyone home for like a week or two. But I think right before Christmas came, they were back into in-person schooling. All right, so that's about it. So we're going to take our beaker, and like I said, we're going to break this here, give it some count. Actually, you might be able to see this. It looks a little bit on the lighter side, right? Like, I'll drop it down. Let me drop this light on it. That doesn't really show anything. It sort of looked lighter on my end because it just seems like a little, here, look at the bottom here. Let's see. If I look through lighting, it's going to be a little bit on the lighter side, yeah? Right. I think that's more of, not that that's a bad thing or anything. It's really neither here nor there, but I think we're going to find some nice citrusy notes, tropical fruits. So George is saying, hey, George, how's it going? Welcome back. In Maryland, students have to have 180 days, school days each school year. I don't know if we in the public school will turn it. Oh, wow. George, does that mean that they have to have 180 days in the school or just 180 days of learned instruction? Because if it's 180 days in the school, I don't know if we're going to make that. 180 days, that seems like such a long time. 6 months. All right, so as you can see, the brewing now is kind of stopped. Basically, it just kind of flows through. Oh, actually, it's slowing down. But yeah, that's good. There it is. 300, oh my God, 350 milliliters, all still by hand. You'd think I did this professionally or something. All right, so there's our brew. This is the Fahem from Ethiopia. And because it's from Tim, we're going to use Tim's cup, which is designed for tasting coffee. Now, the thing I don't really understand, like, so it's got this hourglass shape, right? But are you supposed to pour the coffee just to below this or over it? I don't know. Oh, 180 days of instruction. Okay. Oh, yeah. Fruity, citrus, bright and acidic. One of the interesting things about this coffee, and well, actually, like you probably have heard about like light roasting, Nordic style roasting. Well, Tim is probably the leader in that, or one of the leaders. He really explores very light roasting. And if we compare it to, like, for example, you'd think I would have coffee lying around here much more readily. If we look at the beans, like if you can see this, I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, you can see it. It's pretty light. Like, that's really light. Tim really likes light roasting. Him and I usually debate about light and medium roasting, or what they would call my roasting as dark. The charlatans that they are. But yeah, him and I always go back and forth on it a little bit. So that's nice. So tell me, what are you guys smoking today? Like, what are you smoking? Where are you? What are you drinking? Drop those in the comments. Let me know. So George works in the classroom and internally with teachers. So that's interesting. I have some friends that do that as well. All right, so I was trying to debate about what cigar to smoke for the evening. What's up, Brian? Happy New Year to you. And so I was thinking about, what am I going to smoke this time? And I decided to go into one of those cigars that have just kind of fallen in between the cracks, I guess you could say. So, like, you know, you get a cigar that's really nice or really special, and you like hold on to it, and you hold on to it, and you hold on to it, and you think, I'm going to smoke it I'm going to smoke it at the right moment, at the special occasion, and that special occasion never really comes. So you have it for years on end, and by the time you get to it, it's probably, you know, got deformed and like beaten up because it got dried out, and then you're in trouble. So this time I decided that I'm going to bust out this one that's been sitting here above my desk for the last like year and a half, and that is the Florida Sun-Grown from Davidoff. And this is a cigar, an exclusive cigar to Corona Cigars in Florida. And I picked this up when I was in Florida back in March of 2019. I was down there doing visiting Disney, of all things. My nieces, my mom decided to take my niece and nephew on to a Disney trip, and so I went, and had a great time. I had a great time. Disney is, Disney is one of those things. Like, I remember years ago, it must have been like 10 years ago, my cousins were like, "Hey man, we're gonna go and have a birthday party at Disney. You need to come." And I was like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna go to Disney. I'm not gonna do that." And they're like, "Come on, man, you need to go." And I was like, all right, this is silly. So I decided I was going to fly down. I flew down to Orlando. I'm on the plane. I got up really early. Got the first flight out of Baltimore. Got on the plane. I'm like, this is silly. Why am I flying here? This is silly. I get to Orlando Airport. I rent a car, and I'm driving to Disney World. And I'm driving like, oh, this is stupid. This is stupid. What am I doing here? Why am I wasting my time? This is stupid. This is stupid. And I'm driving, and I'm starting driving down the thing. And then you see the sign for Magic Kingdom. And I'm, oh, this is stupid. This is stupid. This is amazing. I was like so excited. Oh man, it was crazy. But it's always a good time. I gotta say, it's always been a good time to go there. Like, I've forgotten how much fun it was. So when my mom wanted to go last year in 2019, I was like, all right, I'll go. And so we had a great time. And as I like to do on my trips, is I'll like to do my whatever the official part of it is, and then take a few days to go hang out and do whatever I want to do. So after everybody left, hung out for a couple of days, went around, went to Tampa, went to visit Ybor City, and I got to hang out at RoMa Cigar, the one that's close to Disney, right? And I decided that I was going to, while I was there, really, so RoMa Cigar, great shop. Like, it's pretty awesome. Like, a lot of my friends were always like, hey, man, these other shops are awesome. But this one was the awesome one. Like, it was big, massive selection, really, really great, friendly, and knowledgeable staff. They have a bar. You could sit outside. You could sit inside. They serve you very well. And so I was like, all right, awesome. And I asked the guy, well, what's kind of, unique for this shop? And he pointed me to this, the Florida Sun Grown, which is a exclusive cigar made by Davidoff for Corona. And I smoked it. It was awesome. So I bought a second one, and I kept it, and I've been meaning to smoke it, so I thought, oh, I'll smoke it today. But let's see what you guys are smoking. So Brian says he's smoking an Intemperance. Tony's smoking a Tatuai Black Label Cazadores in the smoking room. Excellent. George is smoking a Mombacho. Ooh, Mombacho. I haven't tried that in a while. And Rusty asked, did you do the drinking tour at Epcot? No, I did not do I did not get to go to Epcot. In the last 2 trips, actually, I haven't been to Epcot since I was a child. And we went, my parents took us when Epcot first opened. So I've never been there since. I have, however, when I was there about 10 years ago, I did take the backstage tour. So we got to see parts of Epcot as like how they run. And the backstage tour at Disney is really actually, from my perspective as a film technician, has a background in entertainment, I think it's amazing. Like, it's amazing to see all the facilities and the back end and how they do not how to do everything, but how they do a lot of things. And you get to learn, like, what you get to see the tunnels underneath Magic Kingdom. You get to see you kind of learn how to pass through from, like, there's a way to go from Main Street USA, like the beginning of Main Street USA, and you take like maybe it's 100-foot walk, or maybe a 300-foot walk, a 100-yard walk, and then you cut through, and you get to like Tomorrowland, and you're like there like that. It's pretty wild, but it's something I would never take children on, right? Like, the children are enjoying the whole magic of Disneyland, and this totally like this strips it away. Like, you see how they manipulate the buildings, how they manipulate the landscaping. So, which is cool for me, but I don't know if I'd want children to see that, I don't really want to take the magic away from them. So what else is everybody smoking here today? Yes, George asks, have it been human fight? So I've had it in this bag. So here's interesting. I've had it in this bag, right? This bag, I got it. And they actually, I don't know if they gave me Bovedas, or I just put these in. So I got 2 Bovedas, 69%. And you know what I've been finding with these plastic bags? Like, if I put this in, when I first put this here about a year and a half ago, I have not replaced it. These are still the same. So these bags, strangely enough, hold humidity like nobody's business. Like, I was looking at a bag today in my humidor that I had this one bag where I keep this JFR, like that massive JFR, that ridiculous one. I bought one just because it was ridiculous and I wanted to have it. So I put it in a plastic bag, and I put a Boveda in it. And I just happened to open it today, and that Boveda is still like perfect. So, Yeah, it's strange. I'm surprised how well they're holding up. Brian says, a Davidoff sitting in plastic bag above your desk for your Xenos. Yeah, probably. But once you buy it, you get to do what you want, right? Oh, my goodness. Inting, welcome again. How are you? Happy New Year to you as well. Thanks for coming in. And again, with the Padron series, I see. Great one. Still with the 1,000 series? Are you doing like 4,000, 5,000, or are you more of a 3,000 person? And Rusty, no cigar, no cigar for you sitting inside today? The Willet Bourbon, nice. I do keep, and so Rusty's asking, do you keep a humidor at the shop? Or I actually do have a small desktop humidor. It's actually right here, and unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff on it. So if I pull it out, it'll all fall down. But it's really a small one. It's by a company called Maestro de Paja, and it's actually the very first humidor that I bought, like in the mid '90s. And when I first got into cigars, I bought this when I was living in Honolulu from the local cigar shop, and it's really it's got a nice burl wood finish, but it's a flat one, so it really is, like, I think designed for like 10 cigars. You really can't put too many in it, but I just keep it here, and it works pretty well. I mean, it works very well. Most of it, though, most of the time when the stuff that I'm smoking is actually kept in bags. Like I've got this bag here that has it's got this Series R that one of my customers gave to me for Christmas, and then one of the Dalay Affentants. This is another one I was thinking about smoking today, but I decided to go with the FSG. And then, they just kind of sit around, and to be honest with you, I'm a little bit cavalier about the whole humidity thing. Like, I'll keep them in bags with Boveda packs, but I don't really worry too much about anything. Like, even this box of Ambitions, right? This box of Ambitions, it just sits here on the desk. And it gets pretty damn cold in here, to be honest with you. Like, when I turn the heater off that you see here that's glowing in the background, like, it gets cold. So I just keep them here with some Bovedas. Oh, these are getting hard. I'm going to have to replace these. So these will get replaced. Like, I tend not to worry too much about it until the cigars start to feel crunchy, a little bit crunchy, a little bit dry. And definitely, like now, like George is saying here, his humidor is eating Bovedas, yeah, for sure. During the winter, that's when I really pay attention. Like during summertime, I find that we have enough humidity in the air during summer that I don't ever worry about humidity much. Like my humidor, the big humidor I have at home, it never turns on. Like I didn't have to replace the water the entire summer. I didn't have to fill the humidifier because there's just so much moisture in the air. And so I don't really worry too much. Nowadays, I worry a little bit more, monitor the water more, but not too heavily, to be honest with you. And George says, yeah, the Willet. The Willet is a nice bourbon. I've had a taste of that. And then one of our friends yesterday was talking about, I don't think it's Willet. I don't think it's the same. Maybe it's the same company, but it's talking about how I thought the name was Willet for a pear brandy. The brandy where they put the pear in the bottle. That one. Oh, Inting, you're now in the Philippines. You left Jersey and went to the Philippines? All right, so here's the question. If you're in the Philippines, are you in Manila? Okay, so the question my mom was asking me earlier, she's like, do you think they're like having fireworks? So for those of you who've never been to the Philippines, like if you go to Manila, like I've only been to Manila for New Year's. And like this summer we had like fireworks, like people were shooting fireworks randomly, right? This past summer during the pandemic. And people were like, oh man, it's really disturbing. It's really kind of like, I can't sleep. Man, if you're in Manila on New Year's Eve, that stuff is off the hook. It's like a war zone. It's going off. And, they like here, you can go to Pennsylvania and buy fireworks, right? But they're pretty small, right? What we're sold here in America is pretty small. Like there in Manila, man, they're like they got some gunpowder. Like these suckers are big, and they shoot them off like nonstop. And it's the only place that I've ever been to that was similar was Honolulu for New Year's. A lot of people shoot fireworks, but it's not quite to the same effect. So, yeah, that would be kind of awesome. All right, so let's get into this cigar now. So the nice guys at Corona also gave me some matches. So I got some more matches. Excellent. Now, I don't know if you guys will follow along with the RoMa Craft news, but RoMa Craft and Corona made a little bit of, had some news going on because they would have, like the owner of Corona, this guy named Jeff, very Trump kind of guy. And Skip Martin from RoMa is very liberal kind of guy. And, you know, they'll get into discussions, arguments, debates, you know, and finally, I guess the guy Jeff really pushed it over the edge and said something about how, like, Skip, the most dangerous people in the cigar industry are Nancy Pelosi. The biggest dangers in the cigar industry are Nancy Pelosi, some other people, and Skip Martin. And evidently Skip just got pissed off. He's like, I'm done with you. We're never going to sell you any more cigars. And I know we talked about this before. And that's how I got this box of Ambitions. And look at that price. $167. Okay, so here it is. Here it is, $167. Right? So this guy, Jeff, he was so pissed off with Skip Martin that he was like, I'm going to blow these out and show you what is what. So he knocked the price down. This box was $94. Quite frankly, I'm hoping that Skip pisses off more owners so that they'll sell his product at a good price so I can gather more. Oh, Jose, man, good to see you. Jose, my brother, good to see you. You learned to drive a stick in Manila on New Year's, and that's a hell of a time to drive and learn a stick. Oh, my goodness. And George says, I live on Waterloo Avenue, and right now, oh, really? Yeah, you know, here, but you know, we're broadcasting here from Cockeysville. It's pretty quiet here. There's nothing going on. Downtown Cockeysville is very dead tonight. Inting's in Cebu. Okay, celebrating the holidays here. Less fun. How was the trip out there? Like, did you have to go through a lot of rigmarole to get in or get out of America and get into the Philippines? Because I heard they're supposed to be pretty heavy on the lockdown right now. All right, so here we are. This is the Davidoff Tampa FSG exclusive for Corona Cigar in the 6x52 Bellicoso. $27. Look at that thing. Oh, come on. Well, you saw it. $27, which is really way above the price I normally like to pay. However, it's not really that expensive for Davidoff. So let's have a look. Let me get the light. Finally got decided to pull the other lights out so you can see better. So there's the wrapper. Nice wrapper, right? Even after this time sitting in a bag, subjected to the temperature extremes, like it gets pretty hot in the summertime in here, like, you know, it gets 90. No bugs, huh? Pretty good. Oh, maybe a little bit of cracking there. Oh, Inting says Corona has 21% off for today. Ooh, but they don't have RoMa, so what am I going to do? That's a problem. And so here's the cap. Tampa FSG. So it looks pretty good, huh? I think so. I think it looks nice. There's that manure kind of barnyard kind of aroma. That, you know, that's the thing that pleasant. It's very pleasant. All right, so let's cut. our Cigar MTX cutter. So we like to talk about the Cigar. Maybe one day they'll sponsor us. I'm going to cut it right about there. Yeah. Ooh, relatively even, I think. You know, as much as Davidoff may cost quite a bit, it does. It's a very classy. It's very classy looking, isn't it? Like, look at that. It's just a nice, attractive, simple. Like, you know, there's so many cigar companies that make these bands that are super like fancy and like intricate, where this is just simple elegance. Focus on that tight. No. What this? Okay. Look at that simple elegance. That's what I like. All right, so let's give it a light. We'll use the official Corona Cigar matches. Huh. Cold draw gives some pleasant, like sweetness, tobacco sweetness on the tongue, and a little bit of cacao. Maybe we'll try to be as floral and, you know, as like some of the other review sites, Half Wheel and that kind of thing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, a little bit more. Whoa. You saw that. You remember I mentioned how I keep stuff above the desk? Well, that just fell back down. All right. Initially, there's a bit of spice, like a light peppery, but a spiciness that just kind of hits your tongue just as I'm lighting the cigar. Really kind of interesting. So this cigar is has a Habana Oscuro 2000 wrapper from Ecuador. It has a binder from a Habana style binder from Jalapa, Nicaragua. And then the filler is a combination of tobaccos from the Dominican, Nicaragua, as well as the Florida sun-grown. And actually, I don't really know too much, but do you guys know anything about the Florida sun-grown tobacco? I forgot to look it up more about it. There's a nice, like when I smoked this previously in March last year, there's a really nice flavor to it. I really, really enjoyed it, which is why I bought the second one. Was planning to smoke it at some point. So Rusty's asking, speaking of the desk, how's the new one? The new one is good. I'm on it right now. Let's see if I can. You can kind of see it. It's all. I laid the leather down. There's some stitching. Can't really see it right there. All right. So it was an interesting experience to try to figure out how to work with leather, how to make leather happen. Like I've never really done any leather work, so everything was new. Like I had to figure out the stitching, how to lay it down, and it works well. Like it's actually a height adjustable disc, so it goes up and down. Like can you see it? Does it look like it's moving to you? Like oh yeah, you can see it's moving up on me, right? Yeah, so it comes up and down, so I can stand with it. However, the way that I have the layout here on my desk is that there's actually a shelf that is behind where the camera is, and that shelf actually limits the amount of height that I can raise the desk, because there's actually speakers that I have mounted on the desk that if I was to go any further than here, it would start to crunch into the counter or into the shelf. So that's a little bit of a buzzkill. Oh, my shelf looks a little bit droopy. So Tony says that the FSG was a tobacco that Corona developed. Ah, okay. Do you know if it's grown in that region of Florida, or what part of Florida? So, of course, this is made at the Davidoff factory in Dominican Republic, and it's blended by Eladio Diaz. And this one was released in the 2017. So it's been a really good, like right now, it's good. It's really good, like rich. Like it doesn't have like the flavors, like these wild, like descriptive flavors, but man, it's just rich tobacco. You know, some of the really, really, like those of you who have smoked the really nice Davidoff that you've clicked with, this is one that I clicked with. I think it's a more robust and a slightly more harsher smoke than, let's say, like the Special R. Is it Special R? Specialty, Special R, all those classic nice ones. This is kind of more in the vein of like the Year of the Rat. So Inting's asking, does it have that FSG? You know, I haven't smoked enough FSGs to really know what that is. So maybe you can drop a comment and let me know what that is, and I can say. But it does have it's sharper and there's a little bit more bitterness compared to a normal Davidoff. But I do enjoy that. I find this to be a very like nice flavor. So, Inting, how's the cigar scene in Cebu? Like, is there a place to go smoke? Like, when I'm in Manila, I'll usually go over to the Riedel Room that's run by Albert, and usually I'll hang out there. But how's the cigar scene in Cebu? Yeah, George is asking, so a bolder experience than normal Davidoff? I think I would think so. Like, I don't smoke too many Davidoffs, and when I do, they're usually few and far between. But from what I remember about the regular line Davidoff stuff, this has definitely got a bit more spice, a bit more boldness, a bit more. Well, maybe the best way to describe it is it's harsher. It's a little bit harsher. Like, you know that Davidoff Robusto, the R, it's very smooth, very rich, very rounded. This is not so much. Like, it's got good flavor. But there's a little more bitterness on it. There's a little bit more roughness, comparatively slightly harsher. But it's good. Like, I want to smoke it pretty fast. Like, I want to suck it down, but I'm not doing that. I gotta hold back. All right, so we've got the coffee. Let's see how it tastes. The fahem from Ethiopia. And we need to drink with this. What shall we drink? Oh, Intig says, haven't found any yet. Pretty sure they have. Yeah, you know, I mean, like, I wonder if there's anything online. Let's see if I can look it up and see if there's any kind of a Cebu City Cigar Lounge. Oh, the listings here for something called Fuma. in Ayala Center. But usually Fumas, from what I remember, are just like little kiosks. So that can't be anything good. Oh, here we go. So on this one forum that I found, Living Cebu, this is from June 2017. It says there's a place called Los Primos Cigar Boutique that is in the Henry Hotel. So check that out. Yeah, the Henry's really nice, actually. I've never been there. He's the guy that owns it is actually kind of my cousin, so it's really nice. He's got a lot of awards. Really does a great job on hotels. So if you ever get, so imagine that the cigar place that would be in there would be pretty good. Yeah, it's usually, I think it's a good idea to bring your own sticks. I agree with that. So you ordered from the U.S. and then they shipped it to you. So do you always go to Cebu, or are you also in Manila? Like if I'm in Manila, I got places that I can buy Cuban cigars. But like you, I normally bring a bit of cigars with me, so I don't have to worry too much about it. Because it does get pretty expensive no matter where you are if you're having to buy cigars. All right, so let us. Oh. Did I not bring my glass? All right, we're going to start off with some Diplomatico. Or maybe, maybe better to do the we'll try the Glengoyne. Huh? Yeah. The Glengoyne 10-year aged. We drank this a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And George's like, cigars like clothes, they always come to me. That's always the best way. That is the best way. It's the cheaper way. God. Like, you could bring like a box of these RoMa Craft Revenges. They're going to be like, what, $9, $9 per stick, where if you're buying cigars in other countries, oh man, it gets pricey. All right, so let's have the thing going. Not bad. Initially, not necessarily the best pairing. But we'll see. So how was your guys' Christmas? What did you guys do? The last time we left off, it was New Year. It was Christmas Eve. We were just about to have it happen. So like I said last week, my package never did arrive for my niece. It only arrived like, what, yesterday, the day before? So she was finally happy. I ended up giving her like this balloon set. So I had this helium balloon tank. So I gave that to her with some balloons, and hopefully that was nice. I mean, it was kind of fun, One of my guys at work gave me this box of Christmas cookies. Very nice. And then my niece and nephew gave me this They gave me a box of cookies from this guy called My Cookie Dealer, and he makes these cookies that are super like thick. They're pretty good. So Inting says he brought a 200 count. Did you fill the 200 count Tupperware? And how long are you going to be there? 200 count. That's pretty amazing. So they gave me this corksicle thermal cup, thermal tumbler. Let me turn this on so it's black. Look at that thing. This is the Darth Vader one. And so evidently evidently these are really popular. Like I saw one of my friends having one the other day or last week when we were together. And I think they had the orange one, which is the Luke Skywalker. And I just kind of noticed it and I was like, that's kind of cool. And then I got one. So this is pretty awesome. I haven't even opened it, but it's all, even the top is like shiny black, like Vader's helmet. Oh, there's some paperwork. Oh, and a sticker. Nice sticker for my toolbox. Like there's so many different tumblers up, but nice stainless steel on the inside, right? Look at that. It's nice. And it comes with a little baggie to protect it. Every year they give me one. Like I got the other ones. I think the other one's in the other room. Right. But that was great. That's always nice. And, I think, we get to this point in our lives where it's like, do we need anything? Do we need a lot of stuff? I don't really need anything. What am I going to do with anything? I just got too much clutter, right? So as you can see, it's smoking pretty well. It's getting a little bit of this weird bend with the ash, as you can see. But the ash is, not bad. It looks kind of grayish on the screen, but in person it looks a little more on the whiter side. And then Rusty got the Boveda Butler Smart Hygrometer for the new home. Nice. I think that'll be a great hygrometer to have. Usually Boveda makes some pretty good stuff. So, speaking of which just reminds me, if any of you have been thinking about getting one of those like instant read thermometers for cooking, the probe thermometers, ThermalWorks is having a sale. So they're like 15% off, which is really, for them, a good deal. Like you can get their ThermaPen. The ThermaPen 4, I think, is now for like $80 or something like that. But it's only for a few days. So if you go to thermalworks.com, they've got a whole bunch of stuff on sale. And I think it's pretty darn worth it. Like I've had a ThermaPen for many, many years and it works awesome. Like it's instant on, it instant reads, it's really accurate. They actually have a new one where you have the ThermaPen part, and then on the other end, you turn around on the butt part of it, there's a button you press, and it's an IR, infrared temperature readout. So you can read surface temperature. So it'd be kind of nice to have one on your pocket instead. Like in my case, I've got to grab my separate IR thermometer. So if you're looking for a good deal in temperature thermometers, now's the time to go. I'm going to knock that off because I don't want it to be falling everywhere. So I knocked it off. There we go. So it's smoking well. It's burning well. Good amount of smoke. Good amount of resistance. It doesn't have a copious amount of smoke when you're like some cigars have a copious amount. This is a good amount, but it's a reserved amount. Lava tools. I'm not familiar with lava tools. Okay. Yeah, I'm not feeling the Glengoyne with this today. I wonder if I should have gone for the Diplomatico. Guess we'll have to go to that. we'll go a little bit faster. Oh. So some Diplomatico. Huh? This is a real simple Diplomatico. And I know I mentioned this in the past, but it got pretty good ratings. It got an over 8 rating on rumratings.com. So I wanted to try that. Yeah, you know, faster. You got to do faster because sometimes you just don't enjoy the pairing. So, plus, I don't want to waste it. What a shame. And I don't have to go drive home for at least another hour and a half. Well, I certainly enjoy it. Thank you for joining us tonight because I'm trying to be as entertaining as Ryan Seacrest. Look at this. Question for the room. Can anyone recommend a cigar soba pairing and a cigar sake combo? Cigar soba. I'm a ramen guy. I'm more of a ramen guy, I have to be honest. I don't know buckwheat soba very well. I should explore that more. But, you know, there's something to me about soba that I like the chewiness of the ramen. Right? The chewing, I think there's a more springiness to the ramen than soba that I prefer. But what would be good for soba cigars? That buckwheat. And I'm not too well versed in sake. Like, I have a couple bottles here, like... It should probably be refrigerated, but I've got this Kisakura no Nigori sake that is from Japan, and it's really just rice, koji, and water. Really, that's all it is. And this is made in a... Where is it? Oh, it's from Kyoto. And this is pretty good. It's got a lot of rice. It's got the sediment. Do the sake next. Oh, maybe I will do that next. All right, put that there. Well, okay, sure. You guys are right. So here's the thing. If you guys know more about this, do you drink it like this or do you mix it? And this is also like this cigar, right? It's been sitting here on my desk, above my desk for at least a year, and I still haven't drank it. So, all right, you're right. We're going to drink that next. I'll mix it. Okay, good. All right, we'll mix it. Okay, on camera now. This way we can go back and look at it on the restream later. Oh. Nigori sake. Oh, look at that. It's like it doesn't want to do it. Look at that. Look at that. Oh. There we go. Nice. What I need to do is I need to rearrange the boxes. Here we go. Actually, let's go to this one first. So this is not really the right mug for it. Like I do have at home. I've got the the wooden box that you can drink this out of. I will shake it up. Ooh, it's all viscous. So Rusty says, my college roommate is in the Navy band at Annapolis. He asked the question. Oh, you really was for a friend. He and his Japanese wife celebrate with soba and sake tonight. Well, does he have cigars available to him with the soba? All right, let's see. It's relatively clean on the nose. Wow, there's kind of a fruity citrusiness to it. Oh, that's good. That's good. Sweet, fruity, citrus, like almost like orange. Wow, that's really good. That's really surprising. And pleasant with the cigar. Actually, that's worth a second drink. I wonder if I should be refrigerating this now. Kanpai! Ah, that's nice. Okay, it's like shoju nights. Actually, that sweetness, that fruitiness from the sake goes actually really nicely with this cigar. Like it really, like I said, earlier on, there's a little bit of bitterness to the cigar, a little bit of edginess. That actually is really balanced out and like smoothened with this. Mm. Yeah, that's quite good. Speaking of this cigar, right? So let's do a little bit of dive into the getting lit. Yes, pretty much at this point, into the whole relationship of the cigar, right? So according to what I've read, so it says that, well, I'll just read what they're saying. To celebrate the successful business relationship between Edinger, Davidoff, and Corona Cigar, they have created this blend with Borowitz, the owner of Corona's own Florida Sun-Grown tobacco. Okay, so he does grow his own tobacco, and it's their second collaboration. They made one before for the 20th anniversary of Corona, and this was to celebrate the success of the Davidoff of Geneva since 1911 Tampa Cigar Bar. So evidently Jeff, the owner of Corona, is also the owner of the Davidoff Tampa Cigar Bar. But I haven't tried the rum yet, so let's try the rum. So we'll compare the rum, the Diplomatico, with the cigar. See, what I like about the Diplomatico, it's got a really nice sweetness that balances out the astringency. Now, it doesn't have the smoothness of the Dalay Zigarren that I drank last week, but it's got a really nice vanilla caramel, sweetness. But there's still a little bit of burn. The sake is definitely more smoother, much smoother, very pleasant. Actually, the sake is really pleasant with the cigar. And Inting, you should definitely go look. There must be some places. There has to be some places in Cebu that have good sake. But one thing I find, like in Manila, that it's interesting. You go to some of these like wine places, liquor stores. And of course, they have a lot of the big name brands, like, of course, the Johnny Walker Black is going to be there, the Chivas and all that. But, like, let's see the brands of the wines and some of the liquors, they're completely different than what we find here in America. So Brian asks, sake isn't served warm. I know that some sakes are served cold. I'm not, I think the warm ones, the ones that they warm, I think are supposed to be the lower grade sake. I don't know. I don't really know for sure, but I believe that's what I've heard in the past. Maybe some of the other guys knows more better than I do. Like I said, I'm not really well versed in sake. I have this one here, and then in the roastery refrigerator, I've got this other one that's a clear one. And there's different grades of sake. So this one's called the Kisakura Nigori sake. And so I think the Nigori sake, the Nigori is this style that has the rice, the cloudiness, right? And there's other grades, or there's other styles that are clear. And I use the clear one that's in there to do when I'm making yakitori, right? So when you're making the chicken on the skewer. So actually what you do is you take after you've skewered the chicken, basically all you're doing is really taking this nice sake, brushing it onto the chicken, and then grilling it. And then you salt it later. So Tony's asking, is there a pull-out at the pull-out bed? No. That's the one thing I did not put in here, was a bed. Like, I should have put a bed in. But, we only have, the space isn't, when I took over the space, I thought there'd be plenty of room. But once I got everything moved from the other roastery here, it really filled everything up. And I was like, man, what I need is like 3,000 square feet. That'd be awesome. Maybe if we start to make real money with YouTube, we can build a bigger facility. All right, so let's drink this. So George is asking, what's next after the scotch, the rum, the sake? Really, we've got, since it is New Year's Eve, it's really a champagne night. So I was actually, so my favorite champagne of all time is this thing called the Jackson 739. And Jackson is this small champagne house that's in the Champagne region. I think it's at Epernay. I can't remember for sure. Actually, when I was in Saarbrucken, my last trip, so Saarbrucken is in southwestern Germany, right, which is right on the border with France. So it's just north of that town where they had the terrorist attack last year. That town, it's north of that, but southeast of Luxembourg. Okay, but at that corner, if you drive into France, maybe like an hour or an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most, you get to the Champagne region. And I was trying to go visit Jackson because I really love that 739. And one of my good friends is one of the reps here he reps Jackson. And he was trying to arrange it. Unfortunately, at the time that I was there, which was November, December of last year, 2019, that one guy that does the tours was actually out of the country at the time. So I wasn't able to connect and I wasn't able to go. But that particular champagne really speaks to me. Like, the flavor is just perfect. So I was asking him, hey man, what should I do is there anything that's similar? Like, the problem with the 739 is that it's actually a 2011 vintage. And it's been like 2 years since I've had it. So I think it's long gone. Like, now we're up to 730. I think they're up to vintage to the Cuvée 744. So it's pretty far removed now. And yeah, you can't find it. So I was asking him, hey, what do you think would be similar in character? And he's like, well, I'm not really sure, but go talk to the guys over at this place. And it's over in Stevenson Village. that little tiny place of a Stevenson and Hillside, like way out there in the country. You're like, what is this place? But it's a place called the French Wine Paradox, and small store, but really well curated selection. So I went to those guys and I was like, hey, you know, this is what I like. What do you have that's similar? And the guy was like, well, you know, try this Bereche. So I've got a bottle of Bereche chilling, ready to go. We'll bust into that soon. Tony says, at least a small coffee fin. And Brian's drinking a Muscat Claret 2011. Nice. I like the Muscats. You know, I do. I know that people like tend to poo-poo on this idea, but I do enjoy fruity, sweeter wines. I enjoy that a lot. Like a nice Muscat is really wonderful, or like a nice Sangiovese that's got that nice, brilliant fruit character. I really enjoy that as well. Or like, I really like Rieslings and Gewürztrainers that are fruity and kind of sweet. I like that a lot. Folding cot. That would be nice. Like I just had this bottle not too long ago from it's an Italian wine, a Sangiovese, I believe, and it's that one that has the raffia wrapped around it with the little twig. It's like $16 for a bottle. Man, it's just so fruity and juicy and goes great with like, you know, like tomato-based pastas. Really just fantastic wine to have. Albarino. Oh, that's good. I haven't had too many Albarinos. I have had a few of the what is it? The Nero de Avola? The Avola? And George says, wow, I never thought I'd see 4 alcohols. Well, it is the new year. We are celebrating the end of 2020. And the cigar is good. The company is good. The upload speed is good, so that's always a positive. Ooh, this sake is. I don't know why I've been sitting on it for so long. You know, but here's why I sit on so much alcohol for so long, because I don't really have anything to drink it with. Like, it's probably a bad idea to drink alone. You know, you sit alone, you drink, you get depressed. There's something really nice about with this sake that has that sediment from the rice. This has a little bit of tingling on the mouthfeel, but the fruitiness is really quite surprising. Like I really haven't explored as much sake as I've thought about, you know. Plus, also, George, I'm not really much of a hard liquor. Like I don't really drink too much of that. I can drink. I like more wine. I'm enjoying these liquors we've been having over the last couple of months here on the show, but a sure sign of alcoholism, yes, that could be. But you know, historically, I've never really drank, and also in my lifetime, you know how everybody has that period where they like drink a lot and they get super ill and puke. Like I've never had that. That's never been part of my deal. Not that I'm against it. Just that, you know what, it's always been a fact that like I don't feel ever comfortable enough to get that wasted. And Rusty says the only time he drinks is at the SCA. Really, that's the only time? Who do you drink with? I don't know if have we ever gone drinking at SCA? So this cigar, the Tampa FSG, still rolling really strongly. Really, really nice. Really, really enjoyable. I was going to say smooth, but not really. It's not smooth like a Davidoff is smooth. It's smooth like a Nicaraguan would be. Like, you know, like the My Father kind of smoothness, Tatuaje kind of smoothness. So it's a little bit on the harsher side, right? But it's really nice. Oh, yeah. Tony, unlike me at that New Year's party. Yeah, in the first year at my parents' new house, Tony got totally blitzed and like puked everywhere, all on the new carpet. I was pretty salty about that. I was like, God, really? Man, that was like 30 years ago. It must have been like 1989, 1990, somewhere right around there. Joel drinking now. Excellent. Excellent. What are you drinking there, Joel, out there in Seattle? How is the Seattle scene now going on? Man, I haven't been out to Seattle. I was going to come to Seattle this past May because they were bringing the SCA show, the coffee show that we go to. It was supposed to be in Portland in April, and so I was planning to do, Portland and then go up to Seattle for a few days, maybe even hit Vancouver. I haven't been to Vancouver in a very long time, and but since we got canceled, that didn't happen. So did you guys see that Wonder Woman 1984? I know there's a lot of people that have been posting online how much they hated it. I saw it. I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't really hate it as much as everybody else did. Like, I didn't really have the problems. Yeah, I get it. Like, there's certain things that happen that you're like, what is this? Like, what has Diana Prince been doing for 66 years, right? Since World War I ended until, 1984. What did she do this whole time? Like, did she do nothing? Like, the whole world has gone to shit, right? Like, we had World War II. Hitler. Hirohito. Manchuria. My God. She didn't do anything? Was she hiding? You're seeing it. What are you going to the theater, Brian? How could you not see it? You just watch it. Just pull it up. HBO Max. There's Joel. Rainy as usual. Copperwork single malt whiskey. Nice. Are you smoking too, Joel? And the Inting said, sounds like me 2 years ago at my boss house party. So wasted, forgot what happened. Maybe, yeah. When you get wasted at your boss's house, that you should be questioning what you're doing. Did you get fired? Is the question. Oh, Brian, you did the theater rental. Is that the one they charge $175 for, or is that the $250? I wanted to do that with some friends. I was trying to get some people together to do that for Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie. But but that was during like a couple months ago when everything was kind of more in flux. Like they would like release some dates, but they wouldn't like release for very long. Like it would be like 2 weeks out, and then everyone was sold out. And so you tried to get longer, but they weren't opening dates into November. This is back in October. They weren't going to open November dates, so we kept waiting, and it was kind of crazy. But I did see Tenet, and that was quite good. I think that's quite an interesting movie. So not smoking yet, waiting for the kids to go to bed. They gotta wait. How bad could it be? Gail Godot and I'm with you on that. When you say Friday, you mean tomorrow? But that's my thought. Gal Gadot. I just watched the movie. I was like, Gal Gadot, she's amazing. She's so like thin and like so like hard bodied. You're like, my God, these Israeli Defense Force women are really just solid. 8. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, it's good. I watched it here last week. Some of my friends were like talking about the nostalgia part. Like, if you guys are from Baltimore, DC area, there was a store called Commander Salamander in Georgetown it went in the 80s. It was kind of the iconic like 80s store back then. And a lot of people would buy all kinds of stuff. They would sell like, all kinds of clothes and shoes, like Doc Martens and things like that. I never shopped there too much because when I bought Doc Martens, we went up to New York City to a place called 99X. That's in the Village. That was in in the Village, right off of St. Mark's. And so I never really shopped too much at Commander. I had a little bit, but like some of my friends made a really big deal about it, and I was like, oh man, is it? I was like wondering, is it really prominent? But it's not very prominent. It just kind of happens, you know. And so I thought that people would be really it would be too heavily into the nostalgia, but I don't think it was. I thought it was fairly well balanced. Oh, that's right. She was Miss Israel. Oh, and yes, and tomorrow's Cobra Kai Day. That's good. That's good. Cobra Kai. So I hear that Elizabeth Shue is returning, or at least after they hinted at the end of season 2. And it's interesting. Like, I mean, a lot of us that I know, we watched the 2 seasons of Cobra Kai when it was out on YouTube Red. So it's been gone for like 2 years now. But only this year was the time when they sold it to Netflix. So suddenly there's been this huge resurgence that I've noticed with Cobra Kai. Like a lot of my other friends are like, man, have you seen Cobra Kai? Have you seen Cobra Kai? It's awesome. It's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm trying to be supportive, but really I'm thinking like, yeah, dude, where have you been for the last 2 years? And George is moving on to the Wiseman Maduro. Continue with some Sazerac, right? Nice. Nice. I don't know too much about ryes. I mean, you know, that rye that David gave me from, where's it from? From the local place here in Baltimore. That's been really nice. Oh, here it is. The Epic. This was quite enjoyable, I thought. But we will not be drinking this now. Also, I happened to get today, this week, was the new Thompson cigar catalog. I don't know why they send this to me. I think I bought something from them once upon a time. But they send me the printed one, and it's kind of fun to read, but I don't really read it. Like, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm trying not to buy too much with cigars. But there's some good deals, I guess. Yeah, the Epic, I agree. I agree there, George. It is quite nice. So what do they have here? Special pricing. Don Osrialdo, look at that. 53 a stick. But I thought I would save this for today's stream. So yeah, smoking really well. Now this is really quite a nice cigar. So like, I would say definitely recommend to try it. You know, give Corona a call and like buy some. I think it's quite different. It's quite different than the normal Davidoff and nicer than the Davidoff Nicaragua. Like maybe that's what it is. The Davidoff Nicaragua has that kind of sharpness, that kind of fuller bodied sharpness. There's a lot of similarity with this cigar to the Nicaraguan line. So, Joel, if you're going to be smoking after the new year, what are you planning to smoke? Do you have that thought out yet? Another thing that I was drinking recently, where is it? Is this from Alsace, the Pierre Spar Gewürztraminer. I was drinking this the other day. I made some early this week. I was in the mood for onion soup, the French style onion soup. So I made that, and I made a whole big thing of it. And I got this to drink with it. Really nice. I still have some left. My intention was really to start with this, but then we got sidetracked into the rest. But this is nice. If I get reverse Camino, this is probably I think this is like $17 at the wine store, so really nicely priced. Joel says he bought an Oliva sampler from Thompson as a Secret Santa gift. Not sure if they're any. Yeah, Olivas are pretty good. Like I know Brian really likes the Oliva V Lancero, and I think some of the other guys were like the Oliva V's seem to be the ones that people gravitate towards that I know. Ooh, 40 minutes till the new year here. You know, I always thought it's kind of strange. Like Inting's watching from Manila or from Cebu. So it is now, what is it time there? It is now 23:20 here. What, it's noon where you are, right, Inting, or is it 10 a.m.? Because it's already tomorrow in the Philippines. It's always kind of interesting when you're in different parts of the world. And like, for example, when the Ravens went to the Super Bowl in 2013, I was in Manila that week for a coffee event. And, you know, since I'm from Baltimore and, you know, the Ravens are in the Super Bowl, I had to go watch. So we made these reservations. It was Monday morning at 7 a.m. Oh, yeah, Monday morning, 7 a.m., 6 p.m. game, 7. So, oh, yeah, so it's 12:30 where you are almost, right, Inting? But there we were, 7:30 in the morning, watching this football game on a Monday morning. It's a work day. It was really crazy. It was good done. And then the best thing, what I find is like, so that's really kind of off, right? But like what I really enjoy is when I'm in, like for football games at least, when I'm in Honolulu, right? So let's say if I'm in Honolulu, I want to watch the Ravens game and the Ravens are playing at 1 p.m. Like if you go to a 1 p.m., if you go to a 1 p.m. game, like I used to go to the stadium and I used to have season tickets to the Ravens. You go there, you start in the morning, you know, 9 o'clock, you go down, hang out with friends, party, tailgate. Game starts at 1, game finishes at around 4. You got to find your way back home. You get home back, probably me, I usually get home around 6 o'clock. So the whole day is done, trashed, essentially, right? There's nothing to do. You just got to recover. But when you're in Honolulu at the time is like 5 hours behind us, which means that a 1 p.m. game is like at 7 a.m. So you're at the bar. Like I'll go to the bar. There's one bar called Home Bar in just off of Kalakaua Avenue outside of Waikiki. And call them up, be like, hey man, can you give me a table? I want to watch the Ravens game. They got a table for you, get TV. And you go there and you watch the game. And you drink, you party, you eat, whatever. And then the game's over. And it's 11 a.m. Man, you've got the whole day to do whatever you want to do. It's really fantastic. So Joel says, probably smoking Padron Anniversary 1964. Excellent choice. Oliva V is what you put. Excellent choices there. And then Tony says, the Connecticut Reserve Lonsdale is my go-to, especially for mornings. Oh, nice, nice. I don't really get to smoke. And so how about you guys? Speaking of smoking, like, I know for many people during this pandemic, you know, many people have been smoking a lot more. Like one the person that comes to mind is my cousin Bernardo, right? Like, I remember we're back in June now, right? So we called, we were talking. I was like, so why don't you come over and have a cigar? So I went over there, had a cigar after I was finished with work and all that. So I got there to get to his place around 6 p.m. We're sitting outside on his deck and smoking cigars. And he's like, you know, man, this is my 6th cigar today. I was like, 6 cigars? I was like, holy God, dude. And that was 6 p.m. We smoked until 2 a.m. that day. I smoked 3 that day, I think. But overall, like, I haven't smoked as much. Like, for example, like on my phone here, right, I keep a running tally of my cigar smoking. Like, I just find it fascinating to do this. And I just keep it in notes like this, right? And I just start it like that, right? So it just January, first cigar, second, third, fourth cigar, and I just go through the year, right? So just go through the year. And I'm just adding the numbers. And so this year, let's see. This cigar is now cigar number 305 for the year. Which, according to I've been doing this since like, I think 2014 or 2015. And according to this, I believe that this is going to be probably my slowest year. Like I haven't smoked as much cigars ever. Like here's cigars of 2018. Right? 2018. And in that year, 2018, here, look at that. 2018, 504. Man, that's like almost, that's more than one a day. But now I'm at 305. Where's the 20? I have 2019 somewhere here. Let's see. Cigars of 2019. Right? So 2019, last year, 374. So yeah, it's really been, for me, it's been a really different kind of experience in that I didn't smoke much. Like there was a, in the past, I've usually smoked like once a day at least. But I mean, I'll go through most of, like there's weeks where it's only on this show that I actually have a cigar. Well, now the TV season has started, it's a little bit more like usually I'll have a cigar while watching Star Trek Discovery. Like usually on Fridays I'll watch that and do a smoke. Here, 2017. Right. Oh, that's not correct. It says I only had 61, but I think I got cut off at that time. Uh-oh. Oh, there. Look at this one. Anyway, I do archive these on the Tatuaje Saints and Sinners chat board. George says, no way in the world I could track the. I mean, well, yes, it is quite mortifying. If you were to think about, let's say, 300 cigars, let's say the average price was $5, which in modern times, there's no way that's possible. 300, that's $1,500 a year. That's a lot. And I think most of my friends smoke more than I do. Like Scott always says, oh, I beat that number all the time. So, if I'm doing 500 one year, he's probably doing like 800. And as you can see, there's a lot of intemperance revenges going on here because I've got stacks of these boxes. But this year I wasn't able to get as many. I'm a little bit disappointed. But George, I think that the interesting thing about doing this is that it's really interesting to go back and see what you smoked and like to reminisce about what you had. Like it's really, let's see this year, some highlights. Like early on, like I was doing a lot of these, like January, February, I was doing a lot of these factory smokes by Drew Estate. They're like $3.50 a stick. They're nice cigars for that price. But by the end of February, I was getting kind of tired of them. So I don't think I smoked anymore. But then the pandemic hit and I haven't gone back to the humidor where I would get those since that time. Like here, this number 51, vintage 2016, Moya Ruiz Dim Muck. There it is, right? 51, Death Torch Robusto that Tony gave me, huh? So I put little notes like that. Like one of our friends, Buddy, he tried to do it a couple years back, where he was at, he made a big spreadsheet in Excel, and he's tracking sourcing, he's tracking pricing. I don't do any of that. I just really try to keep it as simple as possible because the more complex. I found the more complex that I try to make it, the easier it is to like just get tired and stop. But I think it's a fun way it's just a fun thing to do. And I'll put a note of like where I got them. Like if somebody gave me a cigar, I always put that in there. Like here, the Aquitaine Knuckle Dragger Petit Robusto Segundo. That was a nice one. But, it's a nice thing to do. It's kind of fun. Or don't. No big deal. Yeah, that sake is good. Kisakura. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Nigori sushi. Nigori sake. Well, let's see how that tastes to the Tim Wendelboe. Sorry, Tim, not a comparison. Back to the sake. Ah, yes, yes. So some sad news this week. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. Marianne's dead. She finally died, sadly. She was like 83, I think. So hearts are breaking around the world. So she's the last remaining castaway from Gilligan's Island is Tina Louise, is Ginger, who I think people don't really like. Like, I get the feeling from what comments that I've seen that people are kind of disappointed that, you know, Marianne died before Ginger. And then this one article that I read about Marianne's passing was, or Dawn Wells' passing was, they did it and they talked to Tina Louise about it, and she was kind of like, well, don't tell me my age. And it's like, really? You're worried about people telling your age when she's only like 88 or something like that? She's not really that old. But at that, if you're at that, whatever age you are, I mean, what's there to hide at that point? I mean, that's something that you can easily look up. So that's sad. Who else is dead? MF Doom, the rapper, died today, I think. So he didn't make it out of 2020. Sad. Terrible. I'm not too familiar with his work. Maybe I'm too old for that kind of thing. I'm still listening to The Chronic. Oh, yeah, that's right. Di, you're right. Di, good to see you. Happy New Year. Ozone from Breaking 2 died. Yeah, that's a shame. Oh, and that Congress guy died. That congressman-elect died. Evidently, he was all telling people not to wear masks, and he got elected to Congress and was not going to make it. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. And then last week on Christmas, that guy that blew up the RV in Nashville, crazy. Evidently, he's afraid of the 5G and COVID, something like that. Rusty's asking, who is MF Doom? Well, that's the problem, man. You need to watch TikTok. You need to be hip like the kids. I don't know. He actually wears that like Punisher kind of helmet, or no, it's not Punisher helmet. It's more like the Spartan, the 300 helmet, I think. I only saw the blurb about it on Facebook today. I really don't know him. I'm sure he has some YouTube videos though. I want to take off the last band. So it's smoking well. Let's use the light so we can see a little bit more detail on the. So Brilliant MC is dead too? Man, everybody's dying. Hopefully I can keep my number away from the selection for a few years longer. So yeah, this is smoking still consistent, still really well, not disappointing at all. I mean, this is as good as I remember smoking it at Corona Cigar, you know, back in March of 2019. Really, really fantastic smoke. Oh, so last week Rusty was asking about the McRib. Have I tried the McRib? So this past week I did go to McDonald's and I did try the McRib. It is as disappointing as I remember. Like, it's just like pressed together meat, which I guess really isn't that bad, but it's not really ribby. And it's the one that I got, they put a lot of barbecue sauce, like just a ton of it. It's just cascading everywhere. So not very enjoyable. I still think that the best buy at McDonald's is the quarter pounder with cheese. I mean, they now make it with the fresh meat patty, and it's really quite surprisingly good. But it's also interesting. Like, for example, I'll usually go, there's a McDonald's close to the shop in Hamden. So usually in Hamden, I'll go to the McDonald's there every once in a while. Today I was going to go by there. Then I thought, oh, I need to go to this bookstore. And I tried to go find the bookstore. I wasn't able to find it, so I kept going. And then I went to the McDonald's closer to here. There's actually a McDonald's down the road here in the suburbs. And if I get the large fries, the large Diet Coke, and a cheeseburger at Hamden's McDonald's, it's $5.66. So there's many days when, especially during this pandemic, where I was like, I would like to have something to eat and I don't want to spend a lot of money. I'll get that. But I had the same thing here at the one up the street in the suburbs. Cheeseburger, large fry, large Diet Coke, $6.02. If I go to the Royal Farms here, close to the roastery, and I buy a gallon of milk, it's over $3. If I buy that same gallon of milk in Hamden, $2.99. So it's just interesting to see the disparity or the differences in pricing just for the same product, solely what part of the area you're in. So I guess the big question is, now that we're here at the end of the year, is how was your 2020? How bad was it for you? How good was it for you? For me, 2020, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Like, business-wise, horrible. Horrible. Like, we're running at 45% of where we normally are. So business-wise, it's absolutely crushing. And it's not going to get any better. It's just going to be worse. But otherwise, it's not been too bad. Like you guys know me, know that I travel quite a lot normally, and so I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't been anywhere. I haven't left Baltimore. I haven't left on a trip since I came home in the middle of December 2019. So I've been home now for over a year, and I thought I'd be really antsy, but I haven't been that antsy. I've been enjoying being at home, kind of doing things here. Of course, I really can't afford to go anywhere because we're not making any money. But not bad. But I also think that, I know a lot of people have struggled with it, being at home and all that. But I do think that a lot of this has to do with with your mind, right? Like, when I was like I said, I went to the Philippines and I watched the Super Bowl in 2013. But right after that, I got ill. I mean, I had this infection in my knee, and basically I was incapacitated. Like, I couldn't walk, and I spent 33 days in a hospital in Manila. Just in a hospital. And man, that was a really interesting time because it was difficult, but I never really, except for one day, I never felt defeated or dejected. So I had to have surgery to clear out whatever the infection was. And a few days, so that was tough, right? My first time having surgery. And a few days later, the doctors were in my room and they were talking to me, and they were like, well, we think that there's been a problem and it may have to go back again. We may have to do the operation again. And at that moment, that was like the low point. That was when I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't mentally do it. But after that, I was able to, after that 24-hour period, I was fine. And I realized during that stay that it really was more about my mental, the way that I framed it in my mind and how I took care of things in the mind. So I found that the pandemic to be more of something similar, where it's really about how you look at the world in your mind. And I think a lot of people have a lot of difficulty doing that. George says, isolation really sucked. I live alone, but I'm much luckier than most. Got to stay grounded. Yeah, absolutely. Staying grounded and positive is the tough part. And I get it. The isolation's got to be difficult. I've had it really different than most people, in that when the shutdown first came in March, because I run a coffee place and it's food service, we were allowed to stay open. So there was actually 2 or 3 weeks early in the pandemic, I just kept hoping that Hogan was going to shut everyone down. Like, just tell everybody they had to close. Then I could finally stay home and be like, okay, I can be home. But, I went to work pretty much every day since. So I would go to the shop and I'd come here to the roastery to roast and take care of things. So I've had the pandemic a lot different than many people where I have been able to go out and interact with people on a daily basis and see the world, or see at least this Baltimore City on a daily basis. So it's been a little bit better for me in that respect. The one disappointing thing for me with the pandemic has really been the YouTube thing. Like, on this channel, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the other videos that are on this channel outside of the live stream, but I've been doing like these coffee videos for this channel, and then I also do a bunch of coffee videos on our company channel, which is called Saarbrucken Coffee. And really, when I started to take off with this, when I really started focusing on this at the end of last year, and my real thought was that I finally realized that, okay, I'm going to go and start doing more videos as we travel around the world. So as I would be going to the different competitions and to the different coffee regions, I was going to do videos in those places, and I thought it'd be really, really interesting and dynamic. Of course, the pandemic has prevented that from ever happening. So it's been really kind of a challenge to figure out how do we make content that's interesting without the grandeur that was going to be all of the travel. It's been a slow growth. Like, in this channel, we've got 161 subscribers. The Spro channel just crossed over 200 2 days ago. So now today, I just looked before I came on here, we're 201. So, compared to a lot of the other channels that I follow or I watch, that have, hundreds of thousands of followers, 200 is, of course, very minuscule, but, it's still kind of it's exciting for me, But a lot of people ask me, like, what do I think, for business, when do I think we're going to go back to being more normal? And I do think that we're more on track for fall of 2021 to be a little bit more normal than earlier. Like, I don't think we're really going to get the vaccine out and, distribute until probably the second or third, probably into the third quarter of the year. So into the summer. So hopefully by the time we start to get things going, it'll be towards the end of the year. Like the Specialty Coffee Association has announced that the World Barista Championship will now be held in November in Taiwan. So that should be, but who knows? I mean, that presumes that we can be allowed to travel again as Americans. Yeah, which was surprising. Inting, like, did you have trouble getting out of America into the Philippines? Like, are they allowing people to travel? As a U.S., are you? So I mean, I'm presuming you're a U.S. citizen, or do you have dual citizenship? Does that make a difference? So this cigar, just right this moment, started to feel like it was losing its fire. So like I puffed a couple more times to get that smoke to reignite. So we're good again now. It's got a slight heat to it now in the tongue. The balance that it's had throughout the entire cigar is starting to waver. It's starting to become a little bit sharper, I think, because it kind of went out a little bit. But still doing nicely. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit sharper now. A little bit more heat. Not bitterness, but that sharpness you get as it gets shorter, and it gets almost as though there's a little bit more of that the burn is no longer even around the edge. That maybe it's burning to about here, like a little bit more tunneling happening. Because I'm noticing that here on the edge, like if you look closely, here on the, let me turn the light on so you can see it. But here on the edge, it's no longer burning evenly. It has kind of taken that kind of uneven burn. So I feel that it's now just kind of burning on the inside. Let's tap it out a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see I tapped it here. Yeah, it's a little bit strained in that. Yeah, you can see just as I was sucking on that cherry, there's really no more burn there. So let's touch that up a little bit. Joel says, feeling fortunate, just got the first dose of vaccine 2 days ago. Oh, good, good. Did you have any like side effects from that first dose? I've heard some people got a little bit of like a fevery kind of reaction to it. Yeah, so 2020 has been interesting. So it's kind of surprised. It's kind of surprised it's gone. So it feels like it's gone by fast now that we're at the end. Like back in March itself, the idea of 2021 seemed very, very far. Now we're here. It's all ready to go. But no matter how bad your year was, I was thinking about this earlier. Like, who's really had a bad year? And I have to say that I think the president has had bad. He's probably had the worst 2020. Like, lots of wrong moves, lots of bungles, lost the election. If you're someone that really likes to be in power and to have the adoration of the world, to lose the election, that's got to suck. That's got to be that guy is probably the guy that had the worst 2020. I mean, you put all these people in place, your AG, the guy that runs the FBI, you put all these guys in the Supreme Court, and none of them are backing you up. That's got to suck, man. That's got to suck really badly. So cheers to that. Cheers to you. Like, I can understand that. Like, if I put people in, if I was someone that could put people into positions of influence and power, I'd want them to be loyal to me. I'd want them to do my bidding. I'd want them to skew things to my favor. But if that's not happening, well, what was all that effort for? And then you want to go back to live in Florida, and now your neighbors don't want you. They're suing you not to live there. Man, imagine like your neighbors, you want to go live at your house and your neighbors say no. They sue you for like living. They want to go back to your house. That's got to suck too. So Karate Kid comes out tomorrow, or Cobra Kai comes out tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen this season? So when we left the Cobra Kai, who was Daniel's son? Daniel's son finally was told by his wife he has to give up the Miyagi Dojo. Kreese came back and took Cobra Kai Dojo from Johnny Lawrence. Will Johnny and Daniel's son team up together? That's the real question. Will that happen? And somebody also said that Tamlin Tomita, who was the girlfriend of Daniel in, was it Karate Kid 2, the girl from Okinawa, they said that she might come back too. That might be interesting. I think that'd be kind of interesting. Would Daniel leave his wife for the Japanese girl? None of you seen that, but like, Tamlin Tomito was just in she was earlier this year, she was in Picard, the Star Trek series, as a Romulan infiltrator into Starfleet. She did a pretty good job. So have you guys been following The Mandalorian? Like, I know the series is over now, so I imagine that pretty much anyone that's interested has seen it by this point. And if you watch the last episode, I remember a lot of people were like, before I saw it, they were like talking about, what is it? They were talking about how you want to watch past the credits to the very, very end of the last episode of Mandalorian. And if you watched it, you know, what did you think? Was that really that? I saw it, and I didn't think it was that exciting. Like, okay, it's cool. Yeah, I get it. We're going to have a Boba Fett and Ming-Na Wen spin-off series. But I was like waiting for something truly epic, and it was just like, oh, cool. I like Timur Morrison, the guy that plays Boba Fett. You know, I like him a lot, but what did you think? Let me know. And Dice says, Karate Kid 2 is filmed on the Windward Side. Yes, that's true. So Karate Kid was actually filmed close to where I went to college, at Hawaii, a place called Hawaii Loa College, which is in a town called Kaneohe, in the windward side of the island, which is the opposite side of the island from Honolulu. So that Tomi village that they made was actually created by this pier. So it's completely a fabricated village. And by the time that I arrived in Kaneohe in 1988, that was completely gone. And evidently for my friends, one of my friends, Hiroko, who's actually from Okinawa, she was telling me, like, if you know Okinawa, evidently it's like, if you see Okinawa in Karate Kid 2, you see the windward side of Oahu. It's got these big mountains, like really dramatic Ko'olau mountain range. It's really quite beautiful. But evidently Okinawa is nothing like that. Okinawa is actually very flat and very kind of a nondescript island. I thought that was an interesting thing to learn about later. I remember we were at school and Hiroko was like, oh yeah, my town is nothing like this. And then speaking of spin-offs, I don't know if you've been watching the Star Trek Discovery series. The season 3, they had, if you've been following that, you know that that actress Michelle Yeoh has been playing the Empress. So she's now left the show and is going to have her own spin-off, which seems like it'd be kind of interesting. Uh-oh, we're 23:53, so we got about 7 more minutes for the year. Let me go run off and grab my bottle. All right. I think I need to hydrate before we continue. They say the best way to avoid hangovers is to drink a lot of water. All right, so we've got our champagne here. This is the Bereche Champagne Brut Reserve. And it says what? Cuvée non-filter, means that it's a non-filtered wine, so they don't do any filtration other than the disgorgement, which is that whole thing where they're racking them, you know. I don't know if you've seen that they actually take the bottles of champagne and they put them in these racks that they start off kind of flat, and then every few weeks or so they come and they twist it and then adjust it, twist and adjust, twist and adjust, twist. And so after a certain amount of time, it's fully like this. So all of the sediment that is in the bottle is now at the neck. And what they do is they take all the sediment out and keep the champagne clear, so that it doesn't have this kind of sediment mixed in with it. They put it in a saline solution, of a cold, like frozen saline solution that freezes the cap, right? Freezes all of the sediment in the upper part of the neck. And then they disgorge it by turning it over and then removing the cap that's on there. And the pressure from the gases pop the solid sediment out, and then they recap it, and then, or they fill it up a little bit more and they recap it, and that leaves us with the champagne, what they call the méthode champenoise. I learned all of that at wineries in Napa Valley. So this is the traditional estate, family-owned champagne house that's been around since 1847. And you can find out more about it at bereche.com, BERECHE.com. Ooh, 2357. All right, so let's start to open this because we need to be ready. Of course, I can't figure out where it's supposed to open. Well, there we go. And we will see if this tastes like the... Everybody gets nervous about this, but if your bottle is pretty cold and you're not shaking around, it's not popping. It's like, see, look at this, not coming out. You have to squeeze it out. Maybe I should get like a knife and do the saber thing, but we'll just twist. Ah, nice. Nice. Now, I don't have the traditional champagne flute. I just have this old school champagne glass. So we'll pour that out. Look at that nice bubbly there. Look at that. What do you think? What do you think of that? Nice. It's got a nice fruitiness, almost like the apple cider, the sparkling apple cider nose. It's a little bit sharp, a lot of fruitiness to it. Nice effervescent bubbles. Look at that. That is pretty. Now, they say that this is really not the best way to drink your champagne because it's so open and allows a lot of that effervescence to escape. They say now that the flutes are much better, but I don't have any flutes. So actually, I was driving here and I was thinking, I should have grabbed a flute from somewhere, but I totally forgot about that. So we're just got this old school style going on here. One more minute. Cigar's still doing well. All right, almost time, almost time. What I don't have on my computer is the actual countdown, so I really don't know how close we are. I know we're within probably 30 seconds of the time. So I don't really know how to do this. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Whoa, there is one. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Mm. Ah, nice, nice, very fruity. Yeah, kind of apple cidery, I have to say, but nice and enjoyable. Thank you for tuning in. Best wishes to you. I appreciate you spending the New Year's Eve here with me. Ah, very good, very good. And that has gone out. I'm not going to relate that. We should continue. We should continue on for a little while longer. Yes, or should we? Is that good? Do we have a small cigar? Here's another bag. Oh, forget that. I'm not going to smoke that. We will go into the RoMa Craft box here and grab one of these. We'll continue for a while longer. This is the RoMa Craft Intemperance BA21 Ambition. We got to watch you polish, but yes, we will work on that tonight. Although the one thing that I always think about champagne is that the effervescence, that sparkliness, always kind of feels to me like it slows down the rate of consumption. Like I can't really just go full bore on it, Times like this in Lonsdale, yes, that would be nice. But we're going to go with this one, this big old Bellicoso, which is kind of, I think, one of the bigger cigars that RoMa Craft makes. Like, they don't make a Churchill. Sometimes I would think I would like to have a Churchill in their cigars. But we'll go with this one. I've been thinking about, like, taking the rest of these and box pressing them. Just to see how it turns out. But I decided to go with this. Like, I was thinking about smoking that small Moreva, the one from Rocky Patel, because I thought it might be closer. But, I'm not really... I think that one deserves more introspection, where this one, I think, has a nice amount of, like, strength and power, so that even though I had just finished this FSG that has a good amount of strength and power, sometimes you find that when you get these really more delicate cigars, you lose that... Your palate's already conditioned for something stronger, so you lose that the perception of that. So this one, I think, will be a little bit more stand out. All right, let's light it up. So what's everyone smoking right now? Like, I know some of you moved on to some other cigars. Joel, you should just tell your kids you're going to celebrate the New Year now, so you can get to your cigar. Oh, forget the matches. We're going to go with the... There we go. Now we're rolling. Cigar number 2. This is the first time we've done this, I think, on the show. Do 2 cigars at once. This RoMa Craft stuff, man, really, the Intemperance line, I really just can't get enough of these. So those of you who are part of the SNS Club for Tatuai, did you guys get your kits yet? I haven't. I don't know if I have gotten mine. Like, I was going to go to the post office box today to check. I just never made it over there. Happy New Year to you, my brother. This Bereche has a really nice, rich character to it that I'm really finding to be quite nice now. Once you get past that like initial effervescence, that kind of like, I think that part of the sparkliness kind of occludes the senses, but now it's starting to be much nicer. So, I don't know if you guys do much stuff on YouTube, but like, there's this one guy that I follow who has his own channel. It's called Sound Speeds, and he's a motion picture boom operator in Atlanta, and he's got this channel where he likes to do these live streams where he kind of goes pretty long, like several hours at a time. And so yesterday he decided that he was going to do he did his first annual epic live stream where he invited a bunch of people that are in the sound business to come and talk sound, production sound for motion pictures, for television. And man, his stream went for 14 hours. So like, it started when I was at work at the shop. So I watched it for a bit at the shop. I watched it on the commute back to the roastery here. Watched it here at the roastery while I was doing some work here. Drove home, watched it again, watched it at home. Then I went to meet some of the guys to have a cigar last night. Watched it on the way to the place where we were having a cigar. Was there for 4 hours. Went home. He's still broadcasting. Man, by the time I went to bed at 1 a.m., he was still in his live stream. And it went for like, he said later that it went for like 14 and a half hours. I was like, oh man, that was some epic. We're not going to go that long. Oh yeah, this is nice. To be honest with you, like, the FSG had a lot of flavor. So this cigar now on the palate right now feels relatively benign. Like, it's probably equal in strength and power. So typically when I start off like with this cigar, like if I'm just smoking one cigar and I have this one, it's a lot more oomph. But because my palate's already been used to that with the FSG, now it's just kind of like, it doesn't have as much of an impact, I think the enjoyment is actually dampened because of that. Not bad, not bad. All right, good start. Good start to the year already. Rusty, how's that Willet doing? Are you still drinking, or? Because if you haven't been smoking, you've just been drinking this whole time, you should be pretty lit. So all of you guys, when you guys are smoking at home, like, or drinking at home, are you just on your own, or you got a group of people with you? All right, Rusty, have a great one. Happy New Year to you. See you next week. So what should we be doing for the coming year? You know, are we? I'm trying to find a way that to get more interactive. So what I'm part of what's been holding me back on getting more interactive with the channel is that, you know, I'm running this off of my laptop, which is a 2013 MacBook Air, and so just to run this style of streaming is already pushing the power of the machine. So when I got a little bit earlier this year, when I got a little bit more complicated with it, the machine processing speed wasn't able to keep up, and so that's where we're having a lot of issues with the sound being in sync with the picture. But I just did order a newer, what they call the new Mac Mini M1, which is the new what they call ARM architecture, which has, from what I've been researching on, it's got a lot more power and efficiency. So I finally squared away this deal with Costco to get this unit, and like I had a lot of problems placing the order online with Costco. So I thought it was going to be here today, and I was going to do the unboxing here. Now it's not going to be here till next week. So, but once I figure out how to get that to work, what I'd like to really do is maybe get a little bit more interactive, so we can have multiple cameras, multiple sources, and maybe even do, like I mentioned with sound speeds. That guy in Atlanta, his live stream had a multi-source component where, you know, he was talking interactively with other people. So hopefully once this new computer works out, we can get a little more dynamic with it. So if that's the case, if you guys got any ideas that you'd like to see on the show, let me know. Drop those in the comments or let me know in the messaging. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, if you guys smoke the RoMas, what do you enjoy the Intemperance, or do you enjoy some of the other lines that they have? Yeah, Joel, if you're looking for other cigars, I really do recommend trying this out. The RoMa Craft Intemperance. Intemperance. I think these are definitely a different departure from like the Oliva V, and definitely more, I think, more strength than like the 1964 Padron Adversarios. It's a different smoke, but I think it's really quite enjoyable. I definitely suggest trying these out. I'm not sure who might have them out by your way, if Rain City or if Union has it. I guess maybe both might have it. Or I guess the casino out there in Snoqualmie or whatever it's called. I think they'll have it. You know, for a city that has, you know, such severe restriction on cigar smoking, I'm surprised that they have the stores there have some pretty good selections. Like I thought Union had some nice selections. Like Union had some really good like selection of Tatuaje the last time I was there. Actually, when I was staying there last time in Seattle a couple of years ago, I got a Airbnb place right on Lake Union, and it's one of these like condo units that you're not supposed to smoke in, but it had a balcony that's open, or not really a balcony, but just sliding doors that opened onto a small, tiny balcony. So what I did is I kind of set it up so that I could get airflow through the condo, and I'm smoking in the condo. Like, Yeah, that's really nice. That Bereche is quite enjoyable. Yeah, I think the casino should have it. Which I was really surprised at how nice a smoking lounge that casino has. Snoqualmie, is that right? Snoqualmie? So what's the plan for 2021? What are you guys going to plan to do this year? Anything new? Anything exciting? New hobbies to take up, maybe? I was at a local airport a couple months ago shooting one of the videos. And I was thinking, I was taking a tour at Martin State Airport, and I was like, man, you know what? Maybe I should start to really try to learn how to fly. I think that would be kind of fun. All right, this is a good cigar. Give it a try. I think now we're going to sign off because now it's 2021, and I need to wrap up things in here so that I can go home. So thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you taking the time. Happy New Year to all of you. And as always, we do this on Thursday nights, Eastern time at 8 p.m. So we'll go back to 8 p.m. next week. And next week, we're going to be back again with our normal programming. And where is it? Let's see here. We're going to be starting on, we're going to go back to our normal schedule of cigars. So it'll be January 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, where is it? Let me look it up here. See if I can get it to open. And it won't open. I don't know. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. Other cigars. There's actually I can't see it at the moment, but if you look down in the show notes below in the description, oh, there it is. All right, Joel, have a great time, man. Enjoy the fun with the kids. Tell Trish I said hello. Give her my love. So, yeah, we're going to be back again with the Drew Estate Cigar Dojo Dogma cigar, which is the Cigar Dojo exclusive from Drew Estate. So that'll be next week on Thursday. So thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year to you. Hope it's going to be a great year for all of you. Enjoy and have a great week. And see you next time.